everybody. Should we go around the room? Yeah. Who wants to? How many seats we got? 4. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. And that way we leave your attorney out of it. You looked back at him like you didn't want him left out of it. Yeah, he's coming up anyway.
He was sitting there.
I'm just going to sit here. We'll handle our formalities real quick, if you don't mind. We'll call the meeting to order, a special council meeting Friday, March 7th, 5 p.m. City Council meeting with the County Commissioners. We'll call the roll. Councilwoman Workala.
Present.
Councilwoman Garvey. Present. Brennan. And Councilman Harger present. Let the record reflect that we have a quorum and we are recording on our audio devices for today because we do not have video capability. Okay, I'll go ahead and I guess start us off if we don't mind. We've got a handful of topics that I think each of us have kind of brought together some of our ideas on a handful of topics. While informal today, I think I'd like to just put the skunk out on the table and talk about a dispatch agreement. In the interest of community safety, I know that the 4 of us have been very interested in pursuing reestablishing a dispatch agreement with the county, and we have a handful of things in the works that we're hoping to accomplish, but we'd like to get some feedback from you guys on what, if any, concerns, contributing factors that you would like to see if we were to request a dispatch agreement to be reinstated or a new to be written. Really, where we're at, those funds were already budgeted. When that payment was due, the best I can do is say I'm sorry that the city did not get those funds over to you in the appropriate amount of time per the contract. We tried to rectify that as quickly as possible from the council's perspective at our next special meeting, authorize the payment to bring that over and get that paid up because that's what we committed to and that's what we budgeted for. So as of today, please accept our apologies for not getting that on time. That was a very unfortunate set of circumstances. Really, I think where my next question starts is there anything outstanding with the county that would prevent us from entering into discussion about restoring a dispatch agreement between the city and county?
What are we going to do with your chief and the sheriff?
I think there's a good number of things that we do.
Huge problem.
It is a huge problem. I won't know. So, communications and interpersonal relationships seem to be plaguing us all lately, unfortunately. Several of us have had meetings with our chief. I know individuals out here have spoken with the sheriff. I think we've all had one-on-one conversations informally and that kind of thing, but the 7 of us sitting in the same room
Well, I heard a different twist this morning from the prosecutor's office.
Okay.
But I guess it's affecting all law enforcement.
Officers on the street cannot get along with each other because
I mean, it's the whole, everybody.
I'll attest to that. That's true. That's true.
And that's not good.
So you'll verify that.
That is not good.
It is the worst I've ever seen. I mean, police chiefs and sheriffs have had disagreements before, but it's never filtered down to the officers that are on duty.
And I don't know how to address that. I don't.
I think the difference between us and you guys is that ours is an elected official.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know how to address it. But
I mean, we can address it budget-wise.
it's pretty hard to have 2 departments hundreds of yards apart, and you've got a wall.
We just need some slight changes.
That's bad. Really bad.
I don't disagree. And for the sake of
I
our
honestly
side,
don't have the answer there.
I apologize, council. We'll abandon Robert's rules, suspend Robert's rules for this. So please.
We never heard of them here.
Usually our attorney leaves when we start doing business.
We vaguely remember.
There he is.
My rules.
Yeah, I don't know if you could think of any solutions there, but it's not only the dispatch, it's lots of other issues that we have.
As you mentioned, right, there's a very different way in which these two folks are hired. And one thing that comes to me is I've had a chance to ask a few questions over the months is like the animal control agreement. And I will not speak for our chief ever, but it is my understanding, right, that he came in and now all of a sudden it doesn't work. The agreement that's been in place for years just doesn't work, and I can't wrap my head around that, why it doesn't work.
It's because they don't like each
I
other.
think it's a personality
It is,
conflict.
100%.
And I can't speak for anybody to my side here either, but I'm willing to stop that immediately and make some kind of, go back to the old way of doing business with the animal shelter. It's worked for years, and I don't know why it can't today.
And on that note, Councilwoman Garvey and I have met with Chief Thompson a number of times regarding animal control and the potential MOU. One thing that's not quite clear in this juncture before we move from that, has the county commission seen the MOU offering from the city? Okay.
For animal?
For animal control.
We had a version of it, it's the last
Well,
one.
The one way back in 6 months ago, is that what you're talking about, Scott?
The
Yeah,
last
it
one
was
we
within
got
the
back
last
from the city clerk.
Yeah.
What's the date on that?
Where it was changed up to where the sheriff's deputies weren't capable of bringing the animals on weekends or after hours.
It was
That's
during
the
Just
one
Monday
we
through
see.
Friday,
Business
that's the
hours
last
only.
one, is that the last one?
Correct.
Didn't we see
So that would have been the last version. The offering in that provided the opportunity for animal control to radio in saying that they were on duty at animal control, not out for patrol, but there to accept animals that the sheriff's department would then have had to house overnight. And that seems to be the sticking point for
Yeah.
just
Well, I don't know
The
why the city
actual-
officers didn't want to lock
Yes.
the door. I don't know. That's the way they used to do it.
And so that has worked in the past, and Councilwoman Garvey has made
Okay.
significant headway in this.
Yeah, so here's what I've started to work on. I have 8 months left. I started working on the low-hanging fruit. Animal shelter seems like a low-hanging fruit, easy fix. So I talked to the mayor this morning.
Nothing's easy.
Well, it will be if I take it on, and I am. Talked to the mayor this morning. He is all fully on board with Scott and I's decision. And next week, I am going to sit back down. I've already spoken with the sheriff, and I found out exactly what the problems are. So we found out a solution to that. And so my idea is that I'm hoping within a month, pending we have to go through our meetings and accept the MOU, as everybody has to read it. I can't, single out and say, yes, this is what we're going to do. I'm hoping to have a new MOU written so that we can chalk that up and move on, because this is ridiculous. Like, this is such an easy
Well,
fix.
I talked to your
So-
chief probably a year ago, and I said, if it's money, let's
So,
talk about it.
yes,
If it's
and that's what we've
overtime for
discovered.
somebody to come out and lock the door, let's talk about it.
What we're gonna do, and Scott had a great idea. The two of us came to the table with a solution, and that's my whole goal. I'm not gonna come to the table and talk about something if I don't have a solution. My solution was, okay, well, if there's a problem, let's get a group of volunteers, or let's have a part-time staff to, after hours, let's get the doors open and on weekends. We also came to the understanding with the chief and I, or excuse me, the sheriff and I, that they will not drop dogs that are injured. They're gonna take them to West Vet. No big deal. That language is going to be in our MOU. Okay? Solved. We're going to put a gate up, and I have to go out there. We're going to put a fence up on the north side, which was Scott's idea, is to give the sheriffs a little badge so that they can badge in. It tracks everything, tracks the case number, tracks who dropped the dog, and if it's a Saturday evening, we always have people checking on the dogs. I think it's 2 times a day, correct me if I'm wrong?
On the weekends, it's 2 days.
Yeah, so we have a person checking on the dogs, and they can assess the situation then. They get this dog needs to be transferred to the vet. Okay, perfect. we'll call it the sheriff. That language will also be in the MOU. We're gonna put a fence up and get the keypad, or the badges, and that will eliminate the sheriff's issue with the MOU.
And the county should be responsible for some of those costs.
And we are going to
That's our job.
We are going to implement a fee schedule, like kind of like housing the dogs. And Scott and I got the thumb drive of the dogs that were actually dropped off in 2024, 2023. It's not that many. It's really not. It's not.
What
It's
was it?
so
Well,
uncommon.
I think we're overpaying you, but
30.
we're okay with it.
There's some of the highlights of the numbers from 2022. 99 dogs in
Yeah.
total, 7-day average stay. 33 of those were brought by deputies. 23 were police department and sheriff's department after hours, and 43 were citizen bring-ins. 2023 was 71 dogs, 5-day average stay. 26 brought by deputies, 16 with PD assisting deputies, and 29 brought in by citizens. 2024 has a total of 48 dogs. The breakout of that, the data just wasn't there to make the breakout for 2024
Right.
yet. But we're seeing a decline in the numbers. Whether that's caused by a change in practice or what have you is kind of yet to be understood. But it's clear that in 22 and 23 that there were working arrangements to make this happen. And that's our whole goal, is to find a working arrangement that allows access in those tough times of after hours on weekdays and weekends. That
It
seems to be,
doesn't have to be this hard.
it does not.
It really
It's
doesn't.
not hard.
I mean, I don't
It's
even-
not.
I hate
It's
to see you even
ridiculous.
have to put up a
It's
gate and a fence.
ridiculous.
Whatever.
Well,
But
some
we
of
will
those
get it done,
costs need to be
because
shared.
we'll get it done, and I hope to have an MOU to you guys so we can start checking some of this stuff off the list,
Well,
and we can start working together.
and as Dan said, it's worked for all these years. Now it's broken.
You know what? Okay.
Broken right now.
Here's what I said when I walked into the police chief and I walked into the sheriff. We all need to check our darn personalities at the door and get down to business. We've got to let bygones be bygones, because our citizens are going to be affected if we keep acting like this. So, personalities aside, chief, we can't,
What are we gonna do about the whole of the law
well,
enforcement?
so,
Just all of it.
can I ask legal a question? Are we even allowed to discuss? I mean, we can't do anything with the chief. I mean, that's internally.
Yeah, that's not a thing.
Yes,
So,
okay,
yeah.
so I don't think that's something that we can sit here and fix today. We recognize it's a problem, but we don't govern him,
Well,
we
hopefully
don't,
you recognize it
we
as
don't.
much as we're hearing it.
we don't, absolutely. We all are going to be affected, but we cannot fix the chief. We can trickle this information down, but we can't. I mean, we have an HR department, we have, so, what I can say I recognize is that I'm gonna start trying to work through some of these little issues diplomatically, and hopefully that changes the sentiment and attitude in our department.
And this one is strictly a matter of business. It's very easy to accomplish.
100%.
It's truly just a matter of business and process. That we can fix. And I hope that some of these offerings that you'll see here in the coming, hopefully a couple of weeks, if we have to call some special meetings to ratify some language or what have you, that's what we'll do. But I'd like to make sure that that's understood, that we're actively working on this topic. We know how difficult it is. And we know that it is a puzzle piece that gets us back to the full picture of having a dispatch agreement. As a matter of public safety, we can't sit back as community members and community leaders and have this cloud hanging over us that public safety may be at risk at some point. It's been said that we have plenty of time to deal with this, and I vehemently disagree with it. This shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. So that's why we're pushing forward on some of these key parts.
I think we're all in agreement that we're probably going to make it as easy as possible. And while these two folks talk about like keypads and access codes and stuff, like I'd like to make it even easier and just go back, call a city cop, they open the door, you let the dog in, you're gone. Personally, right?
Keep them on.
Yeah, and we did that too before.
And I don't disagree with that.
That's what I
We're
mean,
just,
you're
we're
just
working
adding
through,
an expense that I don't feel you
we're
need to.
working through the pushback, okay? Please understand that, right? We're receiving pushback as well, okay? So I agree with you, right? Super easy. Let's just do it how we did it.
Yeah.
However, we're working through the pushback.
Well, and do know that we've actually had contact with the Bowens Ferry mayor too, you know, maybe stuff on that side of the county go in that direction with it too. So it's not just the city Mount Home, right? You know, we're trying to, you know, spread the love, I don't know.
Sure. I mean, you've got a big territory to deal with,
Yeah, it's,
and very few outlets.
But the
to-
numbers don't show that there's just this large issue. That's what I'm trying to.
Well, what your chief told me is we just needed to build our own dog pound.
No, no.
And I said, I really
That's
don't think the
ridiculous.
taxpayers need that.
When did he say that to you? How recent was that?
Oh, that was a year ago.
Just like
Well,
we need to have 2 dispatch centers. Like, we don't need that. It's a waste
That's
of
just a
taxpayer.
cost to the taxpayer.
it's a duplication.
Yep. So I am boots to the ground on that, guys. And maybe we can check one of these things off sooner than later.
What size are the boots?
They're 12s, and they'll kick some butt. and you darn right they're steel toe. I don't want to be breaking my toes.
Are they British boots?
So that being said, hopefully we'll see some traction out of animal control MOU reboot here in the coming couple of weeks. Just wanted to keep our fingers on the pulse of and get over to you as soon as possible.
You know, and one thing that you can feel how the deputies observe what's going on. Like, we're not allowed to do that because we're not confident to get the animal there safely and do all the right things. You see what I'm saying? And it's just that perception. That's what you're telling the deputies. That, yeah, you guys aren't allowed here. We're here to watch what you do. They're law enforcement officials.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just want to clarify, so currently how the situation is let's say it's 5:30, it's after closing hours. There's a dog right here in Mountain Home that's stray, not sick. The deputies will grab the dog and bring him down to Glens Ferry, correct? Or what do they do?
We have nothing in place right now.
Oh, I thought that they were making that trip all the way down to Glens Ferry, and I was like, that's crazy for them to have to.
What's happening?
But that's an option we're
We
pursuing.
had a conversation.
Oh.
Because we don't want to build a dog pound.
No, I thought that was in
Well,
place.
and not only that, like if something's picked up in Hammond, it just makes sense to go to Glens Ferry.
No, exactly, but I was under the impression, like, if something's here, Mountain Home, you would have to go to Glens Ferry. I said, that's ludicrous.
Well,
That
if we
shouldn't
had to
happen.
get an agreement down there, that's what we'd have to do.
No, I know, and that's crazy.
Yeah, we're hoping it's.
What's happening, it's like, you know, if there's an accident. So Mountain Home's not a drop-off location, as you know. You can't just drop a dog. So if a deputy picks up a stray, say on 51, Highway 51, well, they bring it to the pound. In the past life, they bring it to the pound, drop the dog off, and then it most likely will get picked up by the owner, or if it doesn't, there is a charge to the county, and it's really a nominal charge. It's kind of a rent charge to store your dog. And then it gets picked up, or I think the longest one was, what, 20 days? 25 days?
Yeah,
I apologize.
Unfortunately, I didn't capture
Yeah.
that, with the average being.
Yeah, it's not very
7,
long. It
22.
either gets adopted out, so the county says, yes, we can adopt the dog out, because they have to give permission. We can't just adopt the dog out. Well, and then if it's a strayed or a hurt dog, they take it to West Valley. And then now they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, period, because there's nowhere, the deputies can't keep the dog in their vehicle.
I don't understand that, so
Yeah.
where does the dog go? They just don't pick him up
No, they pick them up.
and put him where?
Well,
There's organizations in town.
yeah, there's already like, yeah.
Kind of catch as catch can.
But, you know, I mean, we shouldn't have to rely on those
No, I was
organizations.
just wondering what the process was right now.
Yeah,
Kindness of strangers.
exactly,
Well,
exactly.
I actually asked our building department to design us a mini dog pound.
And that's just another expense we don't need. They don't have time for it. We don't need to be paying to build it. To have 2 animal shelters, it's just another waste of time because we can't get one.
Agreed. As in consideration of the taxpayer dollar, it doesn't make sense to have duplicate facilities within the same.
But we're gonna do what we have to do.
Right now, we have no
You
You
choice.
just gotta
We have nowhere to
remember
go.
that. We are gonna do what we gotta do.
Absolutely. And I think all of us respect that. And what we're trying to do here is to make sure that you're not left with that as your only choice. Right? This is easily solvable. So,
That's the way it's been for about a year and a half.
understood, understood. Councilman Brennan, did you have any follow-up on
Not on that topic.
that topic? I'll go ahead and have you mentioned one earlier, about, fees.
I've got this grand idea, and I don't know the legalities of it. We've got a lawyer here. But Commissioner Corbis, I talked about this in a brief mention on one of your requests when you came to City Council is an idea or our ability to waive fees equally in all directions, right? Like building permit fees, like just without even asking to do it, some kind of an intergovernmental agreement that we're not going to charge you the fees. And in a return, right, you kind of credit us the same amount. And maybe it's not exactly equal. A dispatch agreement of $80,000 a year versus a building permit fee might only be $9,000, you know. But when they all stack up, maybe at the end of the year we kind of do a credit, pay the difference. But I'm willing to waive those fees. I keep going back to this duplicity of charging fees and stuff, and I don't think it's necessary. I don't want to get in a battle. I don't want to get in a thing where we're delaying your builds. Just put in the paperwork
already,
and there won't be a fee. What's that?
We've done that already. On a little storage building.
Oh, the late fee. Okay.
Yeah. And Commissioner Corbis has been in front of us at least twice in the last 14 months asking to waive building permit fees or fire inspection fees or so on. These are the types of things in that intergovernmental agreement that we're hoping to assemble and put some language together. It's in its infancy at the moment, but the concept is there. This is a no-brainer as well. Building permit fees. One of the topics on the same agenda that the dispatch agreement was pulled that day was like a $158 building permit fee to tear down the wall of the jail. There's a trivial amount of money, but it is still taxpayer dollar, and there's no reason why the taxpayer dollar needs to shift from the county to the city to take a wall down. The permit should be granted.
And I think the idea of a written agreement that actually says it in black and white is a good idea, rather than it's something that just gets done and then somebody decides different. It's good to have a written agreement to fall back on.
Agreed. So as a council initiative, we're going to engage with our legal, try and get some language on paper and get a draft over to you guys on that.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, James, but it was requested that a commissioner go.
It was requested that someone went to it that was going to. It wasn't a commissioner, just that someone from the county was there.
And for the record, I'm not sure that it's important by any means, but for the fee that he's mentioning, we had already voted to approve that. Granted, we ended up violating open meeting law because our city clerk reached out to each of us independently to say, can we waive this? And I think we all said yes. We later corrected the violation and re-voted on it. But by the time the action was taken, like we'd already decided, like easy, we're doing it. But I don't think it came out publicly yet on that because it was a telephone or email vote.
Well, we were just frustrated enough. We just told whoever
Cut the check.
just write them a check, go get the check over there. We got to go. We don't have time to play games with $158. We got to move. We got to fix this.
Right.
So we just do it. Get done.
Right. So in an effort to respect, obviously, like your guys' time, your workflows, construction hours, and those kind of things, this is the nature of why we're going to approach an intergovernmental agreement to waive those fees. So you'll see some language for that coming forward here in the next few weeks as well.
Are you open for that?
Yeah, I think that we would sure look at it.
Seems simple.
You know, when you look at the big picture, the county has not charged the city. You know, you guys have heard this speech already. You know, you take your water tank up there, that, you know, how many millions of dollars that was, and no fees charged whatsoever. You know, it's just quid pro quo, something for something. Fair about it.
Understood.
It's not a dollar amount, it's a relationship.
You can do that?
Yeah.
All right.
If there's anything else from council on that one.
And I don't know how far you want to get into the dollars. I mean, for the construction the city does and the construction the county does. I mean, I think it's we're both spending the same dollars from the same people. Let's just keep it real simple. We shouldn't be charging each other. And that's just my perspective. I mean, I'll gladly look at some sort of an agreement, as Phil suggested, but you're not talking that big of a deal.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. One of the other notes that we had Carrie, Terry, and Dylan in with us at our last council meeting. It looks like we made some positive headway, albeit a little bit on the slow end to arrive to this point, but we do have some language in front of us, or at least coming to us here in the near future. Dylan has sent some language over to our clerk and legal team, and the council is hoping to see that here in the near future, hopefully before our next council meeting.
Was there a formal apology in that? I mean, we're making apologies for everything else, but I didn't know.
I think you're going to find an apology from someone, but there's...
I know it's not you guys, but just wanted to put that up there.
I can assure you that our level of interest in our first meeting with those three, I personally hold them with a lot of respect. I've referenced their docs and data going back many years in topics that occur in our realm, and I think all of us were interested in maintaining interest at that point when we left our first meeting with them. And now that we've met with them a second time, we do have some language moving forward that we just need to finalize our letter of support back to those three, thus the county, in support of your surface water project for the Snake River, application number 4. I do not know if we will have that language back to us before the council meeting this coming Tuesday. It's something that hopefully we can chase during business day of Monday and Tuesday, and perhaps add that to our council meeting if we have it in time. If not, again, we can hold special meeting over phone. I've always said I can be the warm body in the room to fulfill open meeting law, and call for those votes in between our 2-week or second and fourth Tuesday cadence. So that being said, I think we can all agree that and I won't speak for the council in this sense, but my impression coming out of our last meeting was that we were all in support of the county approaching those water projects. It's just ironing out the language that works for both parties. So
The last meeting and the first meeting.
last meeting and first meeting. Great.
I think that was an educational piece for everybody, and as long as you guys get takeaways and ask those 3 folks are sharp.
Yes.
Asking
Yes.
questions. That we pay them a good chunk of money to do what they do, and they know.
Yeah, and the council, I think, did a really good job of peppering them with a good series of questions about the logistics and how the project works, conceptual ideas of how the city could approach any of those topics without committing to them at this point, because that's not within our current, budget forecast. However, to remain interested and supportive of the county water projects, knowing what we know about a declining aquifer, we all have our own interest in making sure that we have water for the future. So what we can do now is bring forward that language as soon as it hits our desks and get that approved and over to you as quickly as possible.
And we did receive that from Dylan, what he proposed to you guys today.
Wonderful.
If I could jump ahead of something that may surprise you, may not surprise you as well. Our mayor sent us a message and said that from this point forward, he will not be engaging in letters signed by himself and the council. He's going to only sign his own letters he's written his own, and
Did you say amen? Asking for a friend.
he intends to submit his own letter. I think he sent it to us asking for revisions, even though our signatures are be on it.
And I don't mean to interrupt you again, but could you just explain to me how one political group can write two different letters?
Well, from him, it's the executive letter and the legislative letter. His words. So, the letter that Councilman Harjo is referring to will be the four of us, whether we all four sign or not, I won't say. But it'll have at least probably a spot for 4 and not 5 signatures. Kind of weird, but
That's what we've come to.
You guys got Minn Kota in your fishbowl.
Any further discussion on that aspect? Okay. Really, I think those are the big items for today. Again, recognizing that dispatch is our #1 priority. Water is also right shortly behind that.
Let's turn that back just a notch. Dispatch can be a priority, but I'm telling you what, a dysfunctional law enforcement as a whole is way.
do you have recommendations?
I don't. I really don't. It's your world.
And it's a world I have to be very careful in.
And I get that, but I mean,
I can't interfere.
when I hear it coming from the prosecutor's office that it's that bad, it's bad.
I can acknowledge it, but I can't jump in the middle of.
No, and I get that, and I just don't know what to do about it, but that becomes public safety.
Well, we're the same, I mean, personnel-wise, our job is not necessarily personnel. You guys are the same. But, I mean, we're dealing with an elected official.
I don't know if it's
I think
still
these
going
things
on
get
or
somebody
not,
run
because I
against
haven't
them, but, I mean,
asked Alan, but I know that the ambulance is called and asked for assistance, and your chief will get on there and stop your guys, and I don't get that at all. And I don't know if it's still going on, because I haven't asked, but,
You're in their hands.
you know,
Yes.
when you got that going on,
So I think what we do have control over is the purse strings, right? And so that's where I think Councilman Harjo is saying #1 priority, what we have control over. And that is, we do not want to put on the taxpayer a dispatch center on top of,
no, I get that. but
right? So that's what we're
Public
trying,
safety starts first.
100%. But what we can control as us for is the dollar, right? And so that's what we're trying to figure out. If we have to actually go and create a brand new dispatch center that could be potentially over $1 million,
Right.
that could go to our taxpayer, and that's what we do not want. That's what I do not want. And so that's where we're here, practically begging.
We don't want that either.
Well, okay, me,
Nobody wants
but
that.
We're
I
getting
know,
a
but
little bit
saying-
over with all of this, back and forth, couple years of impact fees, all kinds of jerking around,
so,
and it's not fun.
no, I understand, but then we also have a huge wastewater infrastructure problem, right? So we have big price ticket items coming down that we have to figure out. And that, is it going to go to the taxpayer, right? Is the taxpayer, if you can't get the proper funding for it, the taxpayer will have to pay for it, correct? So, that's where,
We get it.
yeah, or through the utility, when I say taxpayer, I'm also talking through the utility bill, right? Some way they'll have to pay for it. So,
We totally understand what you're saying.
okay.
And,
We do.
and. I
We
think-
got the same problem.
Yeah, and just to kind of elaborate, we're sitting here having discussions about our ambulance service, that brings in $580,000 a year in taxes with a $3.2 million budget. Then it doesn't work.
Doesn't pencil out.
And our billing with the Medicare, Medicaid, it's kind of a long story. You have to understand that the billing is just going steadily declining. Well, we're going to have to go out for an election. We have, that's our priority. We have to pay attention to what the ambulance district is doing. And so that's another one. It's just, that's on our radar that we're focusing on.
So, yeah,
And-
so,
And we need help from you guys, as Al just said, over 2 years now. Just trying to talk to you. I
Right.
mean, you guys know how long it took us just to get in front of you.
Well, and that's why we're here, because we want to be able to have this conversation to see where we can meet in the middle to help each other out.
Sure, I agree. Totally.
Well, the thing
Spot on.
about impact fees is that doesn't pay salaries,
It's only infrastructure.
it's just buildings. So
Building,
county
capital
really
improvements,
needs both.
anything with a 10-year lifespan or more. And the nice thing about it is, right now, this just all comes out of built or the general fund.
Yeah, that's,
Not a bottomless pit.
they're spending down their savings.
We shot Peter to pay Paul. Period.
And
That's how bad it is.
one of the things that we can share with you about the impact fees from our side, this coming council meeting on Tuesday, we do have a vacancy on our impact fee committee, and that is hopefully going to be seeing an appointment on this agenda, so we can try to keep that moving forward.
Speaking of that,
But this can has
Can we
been
move
kicked
us up?
too long. Way too long.
see that we're at the
oh
end.
no, you're gonna sit through it.
Yeah, you can
You're gonna
just-
suffer.
I was like, what?
Okay, I have a question. So,
Yeah,
I was gonna ask
Can
you, I
do
was like,
that where we don't have to sit there?
Yeah,
at the end of the
absolutely.
meeting?
I have a question. So, when St. Luke's had the ambulance service, what's the approximate cost difference when St. Luke's had it and you had to pay them versus you guys having it now and having to take it on? What is that cost difference?
Great question. So when St. Luke's had it, we were paying anywhere, when we finally ended up, anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000 a month
Yep.
out of the general fund,
Yep.
plus all of the tax dollars that we were collecting.
The ambulance district tax dollars.
And St. Luke's got to keep all of the revenue they collected on top of that. Then our ambulances, we had to buy out of the county's general fund as well. And St. Luke's had the privilege of using them to haul all their patients back and forth, so that, I mean, we're replacing them every few years.
Right.
And so it was, and I think at that point in time, we were only running probably half the calls we are today.
So
Now
you're
we're
running
at over
in the black or the
3,000,
red.
over 3,000 calls a year right now,
Correct.
and it's just mind-boggling.
We never give them raises without even asking.
Right, okay, so my question was specifically, I understand the problems. I sat on the hospital district board, I've listened to you guys, I've known you guys for a very long time. I understand. My question is, was it better off when they had it, or is it better off when you have it?
Well, I think it's better off when we have it.
Okay, that was my question.
Citizens
Are
control.
control, we have
Okay,
control.
so you're financially not necessarily better off, however you have the control over it.
Well, I don't know if I would agree
Well,
with
I'm asking
financially.
the
not
question.
better off.
Yeah,
I'm not
and
sure.
yeah,
I think we are.
Okay,
it's hard when
thank
you're, have an agreement to where
Part
you
of the
just have
problem
to,
was
you dump
it
it
really wasn't transparent where all the money was going to with St. Luke's. Is that correct?
That's correct. Well, and
My,
then,
my question is this, and I'm not trying to solve your guys' problems. You have your own, we have our own. My question is just that. Was it better then, or is it better now? Because I'm pretty sure that St. Luke's would probably take it over again. So
it's the same.
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
same amount of crews. I mean, really nothing's changed for the most part. I think you have as far as the manpower aspect of it, and I should be letting Alan answer that question, but the reality of it is you're running paramedics on the crews. You're keeping the times down. I mean, if you watch the 208 on Channel 7 yesterday, you can see firsthand that little episode makes it perfectly clear what the whole state is going through. But I think part of the problem as well, Becky, is the fact that the ambulance district, we also have rescue that runs over 300 calls a year now, and they were getting paid from the dump, and so we're billing out part of what they do. You know what I'm saying? It's just we had to get people up in Pine. Two of the volunteers from Pine come down here and said, "Hey, we're done. We're not volunteering anymore." So there's automatically a full-time person. We have full-time people sitting in Glens Ferry. You know,
Oh,
and,
I understand.
Man,
Why
I think
it's
the
so
quality of
expensive.
service is better, and
I
I think that's why I
understand, I
say
just
it's
asked
better.
the
I
question,
think it
were you
would
better now
probably
or you better now?
be-
You know, financially.
Be fair to say that there's no way St. Luke's would take it back for what they were getting paid for. They would want substantially more.
Not if they saw the call.
I don't think so.
I just merely made the suggestion.
Yeah, no,
Well, it's a fair question, it's a fair suggestion, yeah.
absolutely.
We couldn't even get an audit out of it.
Yeah, not to have, the ability to have it under control, but
And I
So-
mean, and the contract with St. Luke's was simple. It just said they're gonna run the ambulance service, and at the end of the day, the county's gonna write a check, whatever it is. And we did. That's what we did. And literally, they took all the tax dollars. I still have the paperwork sitting in my office, $60,000 to $80,000, $90,000 a month on top of that. All of the billing they collected using our ambulances. We had to buy the ambulances, pay the fuel. You know, a lot of the infrastructure. I mean, it was a very pricey deal.
That sounds like a contract definitely needed some revisions.
I like public defense.
Oh, yeah.
So what is it gonna take for us to be able to get back on the dispatch agreement? What will it take from y'all three for the city to rejoin?
Let's work through the animal shelter. Let's take it one step at a time. We're not here to hurt you.
So this is where I stand, from my perspective, is Councilman Brennan says we want an update, council wants an update every council meeting. So standing as of now, on our agenda memorandum from staff, it says no update. I'm not cool with that. We're a year and a half away from losing complete 911 services. So that's where I want to be. What do we need to do to get back in the good
We just
graces?
need to work together.
We don't lose
So-
911.
And we've been,
We don't lose
I
911.
was gonna say,
Please don't say
yeah.
that.
you don't
Yeah.
lose the 911.
We need to be
We
careful.
still dispatch.
Please don't say
fire.
that.
Oh, okay. Well, what do we?
911 stays with the county. You lose the animal calls, the everyday,
My cabin and
everything else
tree.
that goes with it,
Schroeder's bonfire.
all
So-
goes to your
Schroeder's got
your
cars
phone
parked
number.
outside of his house.
But my question is what happens when that non-emergency turns into an emergency and they're on the phone with someone that's not qualified to actually answer a 911 call? What do we do then?
Then you wait some time while you transfer the phone or you call somebody else, and then 30 seconds to a minute goes by when lives are on the line.
And that's a liability.
It's very much so.
So, sorry for using the wrong language, 911,
Yeah.
but that could turn into a 911 issue, right? That's my
It's all
point.
dangerous. Jenny, you're spot on. It's all dangerous. You know, and I think I took a phone call from Dan back when this first went wrong, and he said, "Bud, this is not good stuff." I said, "No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Dangerous. It's not good." And you know, but what's the right answer? I mean, there's a point in time when you just enough is enough.
I apologize,
Well, and
Councilman.
you had
Work a little bit. I just,
impact fees for the jail and ambulance. For whatever reason, the jail just got thrown in a corner and we're just dealing with ambulance.
yeah.
And I don't get it.
Oh. I just want to
I don't get it.
clarify something for Councilwoman Workliff, just because we had a community member say
Sure.
in a public forum that we didn't have 911 as of the day it was done. I just want to be clear to the members
No,
of the
thank
public.
you.
we will
No,
have that.
exactly.
So
And no,
that's-
and fix anything that I say incorrectly, because I don't want to misrepresent. But that is a concern of mine, like when if it turns into emergency, that person that's a non-emergency dispatch person now has to handle the emergency. I don't know. To me, it's a big liability and it's scary.
I think the update is that negotiations are ongoing.
Well, she's talking about the update from her city staff.
Yeah.
I think I said it. We're not here to hurt you.
I don't know that we've been contacted from city staff on dispatch, other than they're
It is-
scrambling to get a check.
Yeah.
That's sad. I'm sorry.
And I,
Well,
you know,
so
And we still got
Crystal,
other
say that-
items
say
to
that
work
again,
through as
Crystal.
well.
I don't think
And I don't know why the
we've
jail
been contacted by
impact
city
fees are
staff.
thrown in the corner.
No, I was contacted by the chief of police when this,
Okay, I was,
when this went down. He did call me up and say, "Bud, we just put a check over and make all
well, that's
this."
what I mean, other than the check, getting the check over. After that, there was no.
I know we're hinting at impact fee stuff too, and I think we're a long ways away from being able to work through the legalities of that. We had a legal memo, I think you guys received it here recently. But I think that's a long ways away from being the negotiating tool by itself for dispatch. I feel like that needs to be an animal of its own because of the implications that it has. But everything else, I'm hopeful we can work through. Commissioner Court, as we talked, right, you gave me a long list of things that kind of, not putting words in your mouth, but like irritated the county and stuff. And some of them are things that are long in the past or short in the past that we can't do anything about now. But there's a few things on your list that we can absolutely work through. And, you know, here to just give everything, but, right, we hope that we can negotiate, right? And I hope if there's anything else, maybe other than impact fees, that you have concerns over that you want from the city, that you are feeling comfortable to bring it up.
We're pretty open and honest.
And Dan, I'm not sure what you're really saying about the impact fees. I know we're having a discussion, Tuesday night on this? And so, we can wait to discuss that then. If it's gonna be another 2 years, that's hard to understand.
Sure.
It's hard to understand.
I'm probably not real clear on what I'm saying. We need to work through that before it becomes a negotiating chip for the dispatch service.
If this might be helpful, Councilman Brennan and Commissioner Corbus, the legal issue he's talking about, and for Commissioner Corbus, it's not going to be 2 years.
Is what?
Not going to be close to 2 years. That's what I'm getting at.
I would certainly hope not.
We've already been 2.
Yeah, it pains us to see all the building
Well,
happening and
Let me be clear on this
Services
from a
will
legal
continue.
standpoint. Let me just be crystal clear on a legal standpoint. At least 1.5 years of that was going down a path that was not legal from its outset. So we're doing everything we can to greenlight this as quickly as we can possibly so that it doesn't get stopped and the money has to be refunded because we collected it illegally. That's what's going on.
What was collected illegally?
Nothing.
The agreement.
Nothing because we did it the right way. That's what.
nothing's been done.
I think we did it the right way. I think we just took a long time to do it.
If the legal memo you were referring to is about the litigation in Eastern Idaho.
No, I'm not referring to that.
Not
What I'm
that,
referring
okay.
to is the previously drafted intergovernmental agreement that would have purportedly allowed the city to collect impact fees inside the city limits pursuant to a county ordinance. We would have to be refunding every dime of that. That was your first 2 years. That's gone. That's the problem. That wasn't because of dithering, that wasn't because of dallying, that wasn't any other bullshit. That was simply because that's the path we went down. I didn't catch it until the tail end. I told Abby that and I told you guys that. So now we're doing it the right way. We're doing everything we can to do it the right way as quick as we can. Everything I do is trying to accelerate this legally. Because if they're illegally collected, they have to be refunded. So that's all I'm going to say about that because we don't want to talk about the rest of this unless we're in executive session.
And if along the process, obviously, for a couple of us, it's been a quick 14 months, whereas a handful of our more senior council members here have seen the issues with timeliness and that kind of thing over a longer duration. I know from my perspective, I'm more than willing, and I think all the rest of the council being here today on a Friday at 5:50, it shows we're committed to coming or opening our doors, to our council chambers at whatever time is necessary as we hit the triggers of when we can move forward on things. I think it's very easy for us to say that in most cases that we'll be able to accommodate special meetings or what have you if we can achieve things faster. Obviously within the legal bounds of everything.
Well, and likewise, if you need us, and this was a conversation I think I had with Jeff, the impact fee committee where the county individual didn't show up. Alan got his dates mixed up. He thought it was Thursday, it was a Wednesday. It went wrong. I mean, shoot, yell at me, yell at somebody. Well, somebody will be there. We're easy too. Just call us. That was our bad.
Understood. I mean, and that was an unfortunate situation that just a matter of, clerical, right? These things happen, but unfortunately these things happen and it costs time for a project that you were eager to help get completed. So from our perspective as the council, as these decisions work their way through the workflows and they land on the council's desk, I think we're all pretty willing to meet, and expedite as we can.
Sure.
In the future, if there's a public safety shortfall, can you guys find a way to let us know, the 4 of us, like directly?
I hear it from the prosecutor's office, that's telling me it's pretty bad.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, Shani told me Friday that she's afraid there's gonna be something really bad, fall cracks. And not be handled the way it should.
Yeah, she even recommended having a mediator come in.
Yeah, that was a year ago, I think.
Yeah, that was a year ago.
Crystal, may I address that a little bit?
Sure.
Part of this deal with the city and the county, as the department head in charge of 60-some people, what trickles down through everybody comes from the top. It's what's being passed down that direction. So this issue that's down to the boots on the ground, and I'm one of them. I'm out here on the ground as well as the department head. I get to work both roles. I'll go stand out in the middle of a snowstorm and direct traffic with these guys. But we've always worked together really, really well. So if there's conflict coming there, it's coming from way above that, because it's not the officers and it's not the deputies that are out on the ground. So to fix that problem is going to have to go to the top. Those two department heads are going to have to figure that out. And I will tell you that because, like I said, I'm in both sides of that. I'm a department head, but the people underneath me are hearing from us on what they're being told and what's coming from where. So we have that responsibility to do that and to get to the point where it's at unacceptable. You know, and I'm not going to take a chance with our people that somebody's going to get hurt because we can't get along out there. That's totally unacceptable. So it's got to go way up the chain. You know, I would tell both of them if they were here the same thing, because that's risking people's lives. And in this job that we have, not going to work.
Understood. Thank you, Alan.
Alan,
Yes.
how many years have you been doing this?
Almost 40. 1986.
Yeah, you're old.
You just got a 5-year.
I did. I got my 5-year pin last year. But yes.
So, in your opinion, and I know, again, we can't talk personnel issues, but in your opinion, but give us a timeline of when have you seen some of these issues arise and become real big issues, like in the last 5 years, 2 years, 3 years?
Most of it's been the last 2.
Even a year, even the last year has probably been one of the most significant.
Yep.
Again, I've had meetings with both of those guys, so hopefully we can get through some of this.
Sure. You know, we're going to be losing Mitra. We hate to lose her, but we're going to. And we've got James and Johnny going to step in until we can hire somebody to work through with our growth development department. And I can remember in the past years when the city and the county would work together. If we needed building inspections done, that they would offer to help, or we would offer to help. You know, and those are the things that matter in today's world, being able to work together.
And I think that's our big goal here, is to start righting the ship when it comes to community effort, truly. Council, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss with the commission?
No, I just don't like kicking cans down the road. So if we could resolve this yesterday, I'd be happy, right? So let's just, yeah, I mean, keep this open. I don't need it. So whatever. When is that MOU you said that?
Well, I have to, now that I got the mayor's approval, I'm gonna sit down and read it, get it back to probably, did you help write that? Did you
Not
read
the
it?
animal one. You guys should have the water one, the comments.
Yeah.
Anyway, I haven't seen the animal one.
Okay.
Paul.
Well, it's something on my very soon radar.
I haven't had my paws on it.
So that we can at least, what? You're so clever. Who
But
brought
your
you?
paws are on everything.
Yeah, exactly. Who brought
Councilwoman
you?
Murphy, I have several versions as things progressed into what the most current is,
Yeah.
that are in an editable form,
Yeah,
that
and that's,
show work
if we're,
history, so.
so we can check some of these things. That is my whole goal. Like I said, I have 8 months left, and if I can just check something off there where we can all move in a positive direction.
So,
Oh, I can leave
so then,
smiling.
once you guys review that MOU, then maybe we could have another conversation about this.
Like to have
Is that
another
where we're at?
meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to continue. Yeah. Okay.
Like I
these
said, we're not here to
dispatch.
hurt you.
Oh, I understand. No, I totally understand.
Well, I know that a lot of comments make about double taxation, spinning up another one is far beyond double taxation. You know what I mean? That's the worst double taxation.
I was an EMT for 9 years, and I understand about how non-emergencies can turn into emergencies, right?
Absolutely.
So that, it just makes me very scared to have that type of situation where we just have those two entities.
Right. The logical decisions all lay in front of us, and I think the 7 of us for sure understand what those are. And it's just working through the next few weeks so we can initiate what we need to on our side and get some language over to them.
I don't envy you guys. These roadblocks and hurdles and stuff.
Yeah,
I've been there.
the personnel direction, right? Like, you talk about, like, have, we take care of your building inspection for you. Like, I want to tell you that we'll make it happen, but it's not our decision, and I hate that it's that way. Yeah, but we do everything that we can.
No, we understand. We understand the position that you guys are in. And
I think you guys should very carefully review everything and really be on top on what you can decide and what you can't. Because you
We've
are
had
the
that discussion.
legislative body.
I've said that for a long time.
Well, and I appreciate you coming and requesting, to come, and that's me, because our staff is here.
Yeah, absolutely.
we definitely appreciate you guys taking the time to just come before us.
And thank you to county staff for staying after. It's terrible
worries.
to ask you to come on a Friday.
And security.
And security, so thank you guys.
Francine never puts no update on anything on our agenda.
Oh, God.
You're getting old by the hour here.
No.
And I'm like, oh, we got expensive fellas in the room here.
Just look.
You'll move us up on the agenda?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
We'll make a motion and
Okay, I knew you guys could do that, but I was like, you're kidding me.
That's gonna be a long one, too, I think.
Yeah, we'll accommodate that.
Yeah, that's an absolute, it's a good request. I do not blame you.
I didn't know, I was like,
Well, please let us know what specific time to be there.
I tried
Yes,
to be passive
absolutely.
aggressive, but I was like, passive
Can I
aggressive.
see that really quick? I'll answer that question.
Yeah,
Presentation by,
for the audit.
before the audit or after the audit?
I mean, out of respect for people's time, not before the audit. They don't need to hear our, don't you guys think?
5 o'clock.
Yeah, be there at 5.
Thank you guys.
We'll move it to the front.
I'll even bring snacks.
Cheese, apparently.
The cheese is mine. This
I
is
just like the
Candy's
news out. I'm
Hell
like,
yeah.
why is there single cheese on the counter?
Have you seen those videos where the baby's crying and they throw the cheese and it stops?
Sticks to them?
That's how you get him to stop talking.
There you go.
I really need a video of the day that you put a piece of cheese at Al's.
And then he starts eating.
Oh, you
Shelley
already
did it.
missed
Dang it.
We did it, yeah.
Dang it.
I ate the last one I got hit with.
Yeah, it's happened, but
That's awesome.
that's why I got it out just in case.
Keep it nice and soggy.
It sticks.
Yeah.
They also do
And
it to
then,
cats and dogs.
How come
It's
they don't
really
get
cool.
threatened with a crossbow?
Oh, I do also have a crossbow that shoots toothpicks.
And it does well, too.
All the
got
way
that through
across the room.
security?
And it
We
hurts.
don't go through security.
Okay.
We can actually come here strapped.
Okay. Well,
Dangerous down there.
thank you, commissioners, for meeting with us. I think we've covered pretty much everything that we were hoping to cover. Albeit informal, I think these conversations are productive, and I hope that we can do this more often. I think we've all said that before. If it happens by our initiation, that's fine too. So, thank you for taking the time. Thank you to staff. Thank you
Good.
for our staff. Okay, and we will adjourn the council side at 5:30.